أنت ما اهتدينا ولا تصدقنا ولا صلينا اللهم لولا أنت ما اهتدينا.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. How is everyone doing? What's been happening so far? Mr. Sam Shimon and PBD they both have been making a lot of waves. So we are going to react to that. It's going to be a live raw reaction. We don't know what they did and said. And I think Brother Daniel reacted to their thing, or maybe Jake Brancatella reacted to their thing. So let's see what's up. Just a second. Sorry. Just a second. I'm gonna put you guys on mute. All right, I'm back. I'm just gonna post the invite link in here, just in case if you guys wanna join, whoever it is, and let's react to PBD's. I think there's a debate between Andrew Wilson and Daniel. We're gonna react to that too. Let me check what happened at the debate. I mean, sorry, his appearance in. I think Orthodox Muslim reacted to that too. Not sure. Sam Shimon on PBD. That's a very long stream, I think. It's going to take forever for this to be finished. Or we'll see, Inshallah. All right. Let's pick this up. Share screen. Here we go.
We'd be the same religion. According to the New Testament, it's going to hurt people. Muhammad is an antichrist. There are many antichrists who will come into the world. I know Muslims will get offended, but it is what it is.
What happened with you and Jenko?
Give him some time. There was a misunderstanding, and that's fine. It's okay.
Have you guys spoken since or no?
Go find people where they're at, invite them to Islam, and if they accept, they're safe. If not, take the jizya from them, and if not, kill them until the victor goes the spoils.
How you go where you were at to now being able to sit down against any Muslim pretty much and have a strong debate with them?
Most Muslims are shocked to hear when I say, oh, Hazrat Aisha, did you know she was 9 when Muhammad deflowered her? You're a liar. You're lying. Can you tell me how to invite Jesus? She thought I was crazy. What are you talking about? But I remember crying out to him. And I said, Jesus, I don't know.
So I think he's just making this up for maybe even Gen Z Muslims. But we have well-documented hadith corpus, and we have Muslims who actually read the seerah or the biography of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, so we exactly know how his life was, what difficulties he faced, who he married, under what circumstances he married. So, and even our scholars from almost 700 years ago, 1,000 years ago, have replied to all of these things. And the truth of the matter is that this is what we call suffering from modernism, because no one in that era pointed this thing out, even though they were staunch enemies of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. All right, without further ado, let's do more.
I'll invite you in, but I want you in my life. I'm not supposed to cry, I'm Jidu.
There's something very different about you, that you're a complicated human being.
Did you ever think you would make it?
Drawn to a person and you idolize him. And so by the grace of God, in this field, there can be no idols. So it cannot be about me and how great I am. And because we are all struggling in the flesh, sometimes our ego loves to be praised. And I have to check that, right? So glory to Jesus Christ for the gifts he's given me. But I pray in this session, I disappear and Jesus shines through me. And that through this message, everyone will be filled with the Spirit to know that Christ is the only hope of salvation. And he has to be the king of every sphere of our life, not just religiously, but politically.
Sam, if some.
So just to say, the name above all names was not Jesus. Actually, his name was not called Jesus. Anyways, it's anglicized. I think he was in one of the video when he was bashing everyone. He was trying to make fun of being on PBD's podcast on his own terms, and just see that how they talk about Trinity and this and that, but they're so deep into idolatry and man worship that they always bring up Jesus as being the king and the name above all, and all these things which make you icky is something which your innate self tells you that they're just thinking of Jesus as the only God. They don't bring up Father that much or Holy Spirit. It's just Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Anyways, let's go.
Somebody goes and searches you and they type in your name and they go to views. It's you and Muslims back and forth. Yeah. Let's play one of them, Rob. Play the other one. Play this one here first.
Oh, that was my first public debate.
Is this your first public debate?
Yeah.
So this is your first public debate. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah.
The woman can be beaten according to the glorious Quran. Now, do you want to get into a long discussion as to what is the position of women in the Quran and the Bible? I mean, we can do that. The book of Revelation, chapter 14, verses 4 and 5, shows that women will not enter paradise.
So
So this would be Brother Shabir Ali from Toronto. I think he studied and he taught there for a little bit. It's been it's been quite some time that video has been there. I think he does a show with his daughter now. And yeah, Sam was there, young Sam and stuff. And it's very hard to sort of defend a position when all of the Hebrew Bible is against it. Alrighty, let's do this.
So, I mean, this is where a lot of the stuff out there for you. But what I want to do is, before we go in here, I just want to learn about you. I want to know your story. So walk me through how you go where you were at to now being able to sit down against any Muslim pretty much and have a strong debate with them. How did that happen?
by the way, this debate, I had just stopped bodybuilding. Just to give you a little background, I come from a family of bodybuilders. So in the 90s, I used to train. So when I see some of your handsome, muscular staff, you know, I start getting envy. And, you know, envy's a sin. But yeah, I was just looking at myself. Even though I stopped bodybuilding, I didn't stop eating as if I was a bodybuilder. Yeah, but to give you a little background, I was born in Kuwait, 1972, came to Chicago in 1974. So pretty much I've been raised in America, a Chicagoan, don't know much about the Middle East. Though our parents are Christian, if you're from an Assyrian background, they'll either be typically part of the Assyrian Church of the East, or in the case if you come from Iran specifically, they'll either be Presbyterian, because we had a lot of missionaries that came to the Middle East and converted the Assyrians to, let's say, Presbyterianism. But historically, the church of the Assyrians is in the West called the Nestorian Church. Now, why do they call us Nestorians?
Because of the heresies and stuff. And obviously, Eastern Orthodox are, you know, there's a difference going on with them. And the Miaphysites who basically rejects Chalcedon.
It's not a compliment, and I want to bog you down with the details, but there was a bishop in the 5th century named Bishop Nestorius who was accused of teaching that there are two persons in Christ, that he's a divine person, human person, and that's blasphemy. And so the Assyrians have been labeled Nestorian, but it's not a compliment. It's meant to ostracize the Assyrian church, because the Bible teaches and the church teaches Christ is one person. He's an eternal, uncreated, divine person who became flesh from the Holy Virgin. So to say he's two persons is blasphemy. So they were accused of holding.
Well, I have no idea how anyone would take that as a compliment, being a Christian, when Nestorianism is labeled as a heresy, because it was associated and coined by Nestorius of Constantinople. And he said that Jesus has two separate persons, the human and the divine. And he also rejected Mary as the mother of God. So, you know, the Christology emphasizing separation of natures, it was condemned in the Ecumenical Council of Ephesus in 431. Right. Just a second, I'm going to put you guys on mute. All right, guys, I'm just going to move this a little bit ahead, see what's happening. So Sam's story is still going on. All right, let's go here. Prophet Muhammad Na'udzubillah being labeled as Antichrist.
Life. So clearly, the Jesus of history is not Isa. He did not announce coming Muhammad. So from a Christian perspective, as offensive as it may be, facts are facts. If we all believe the same thing, we'd be the same religion. According to the New Testament, it's going to hurt people. Muhammad is an antichrist. That's the New Testament teaching. Because what is the criteria for an antichrist? 1 John chapter 2, 22 to 23 tells you. Who is the Antichrist? He who denies the Father and the Son. Islam says Allah is not a father, and Jesus is definitely not his son. In fact, in chapter 9 of the Quran.
All right. So when saying that, denying someone, there are two ways of denying someone. If someone says that you cannot call Allah Father anymore because of Christianity, just like the God of Bible said, you cannot call me Baal anymore. That's different than rejecting someone's presence, which is that the Father or Hashem is what Muslims also believe is the God. So there is no denying of that, and denying of Son, that, yeah, obviously, metaphorically, biblical language would have used Prophet Isa alayhi salam to be the Son of God metaphorically, and we don't deny him. We actually accept him as Messiah. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Verse 30, you know what it says? And the Jews say, Uzair is the son of Allah. To this day, scholars are baffled. Who is this Uzair? And what Jews said it? Now, some translations will tell you that Uzair is Ezra, the prophet, but the context is the call to jihad. A lot of people don't know that one of the last chapters before Muhammad died. Now, again, we're basing this on the Muslim sources. There are people who question the Muslim sources. They say, well, because
Muslims.
They're not in Muslim countries, they can't. But you'll have Muslim academics who will tell you, yeah, these are later traditions, they're embellished. And not all Muslims believe in what they call the hadith. Now, the largest group of Muslims identify as Sunni. In fact, you had two of them debating when they were here. They would be Sunni Muslims. One of them was a Salafi. So though they are Sunni...
Daniel or...
Jacob, what was his name?
Daniel
the other guy, Jake.
Hakikaju.
Daniel
Jacob.
Hakikachu and Jake Brankatala.
Yeah.
Jake, I don't know if it's short for Jacob. Now, he's a Salafi. There are differences among them. And though they belong, and again, I'm not saying these differences prove Islam is false, because we got differences among Christians, right? I mean, fair is fair. Islam is not monolithic, neither is Christianity, right? There are flavors of Christianity. But point being, the largest group of Muslims would identify as Sunni, but in that Sunni branch, you have people called Salafis. They have a view of Allah that the other Sunnis do not share. We can get into that. But so, not all Muslims believe in the Hadith. Though it's the largest sect, they would follow what they call the Hadith or the Sunnah. You have Shia. They have their own traditions. They don't accept, in fact, if you come from Iran, it's a Shia majority, right? Mm-hmm. The Ayatollah, yeah. So they would not accept the traditions of Daniel Hakikachu. So when they quote Bukhari, they reject it. They go, we don't follow Bukhari. We have, Kafi, Qur'anic. They have their own traditions. And then there are a group of Muslims who only follow the Quran. They're called Quran-only Muslims. So just like Christianity, you have a variety. So if I'm dealing with a Muslim, I first ask them, what are you? So I can know how to address them. I can't address them the same. Because, you debate Muslims, well, I don't accept the Hadith. I don't care what Bukhari says. I don't care what Muslim says. So I have to now stick with the Quran and show them why there are holes in the narrative. And the point I'm getting at...
So just want to show you guys what he's talking about. First of all Muslims who are Muslims, they have to accept Hadith. Even the Qur'anists, which he's talking about, the small minority, they accept that there is a divine revelation other than Quran. And then there's a difference of opinion in saying that there was the rulings are to be taken from Quran only, and there were some hadith for the time of Prophet Muhammad's ﷺ's people only. Now that's different. And then Shia traditions, they accept hadith. So I don't know what he's talking about. If they don't accept Bukhari, or if they don't accept any Sunni sources, because they go all the way back to Prophet's family, and they want to take their opinions of Imam Jafar or Imam Sadiq or whatever it is, right? But they have their own hadith corpus. So if we have Ilm al-Rijal, the science of men, we have other methods of recognizing the chain of narrators and the body of the hadith to find out if it's true or not. All right. And then when he's talking about Uzair or Ezra, there's actually traditions found in the Bible, and it's common. Luckily enough, I have this handy with me. Here we go. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's right here. You can find the sources in Tanakh about distinct prophet or identification of Malak, Ezra, which is Malachi. Malachi 1:1, Targum Jonathan, explicitly Ezra the scribe is mentioned. Talmud, Ezra, of Mordecai or distinct prophet is mentioned with the reference of Megillah 15a. Rashi has mentioned this, leans that he was a distinct prophet, notes Ezra's link, Rashi on same 15a. Radak has titled him Messenger of God. Midrash Rabbah, sometimes Ezra. These are all there. So I don't think he's true when he's saying these things. Luckily enough, we can, discuss and talk about this.
Is that in Islamic theology, specifically Sunni, there are certain attributes, names of Allah, that no creature can ascribe to themselves. Some of the names I just showed you, but Jesus ascribed to himself. So now we got a problem. In chapter 9 of the Quran.
Well, that's also not true, because obviously you can love, God is loving. You can be merciful on someone, God is merciful on someone. But you cannot be called with that specific name like Ar-Rahman or Ar-Rahim, in a sense where it's called for Allah. So if someone's being merciful, if someone's being angry, if someone's being swift in taking revenge, all of these things, they don't make you God. Na'udzubillah. And men cannot be God anyways.
According to the Sunni tradition, this is one of the last chapters Muhammad gave before he died. These are his final marching orders. And in his final marching orders, if you want to look at it, chapter 9, it starts at 28 all the way to 33. This is, again, according to the Sunni narrative. Now, if you accept the Sunni narrative, then this is one of the last surahs. But if you are one of those Muslims who say, no, these are just later embellishments, well, then you have a hard time, because you can't situate the Quran. How do you know when the Quran was written? It doesn't tell you. It doesn't even give you a chronology. For example, if you go to Sunni tradition, there are two periods in the compilation of the Quran. There's what's called the Meccan period and the Medinan period. Mecki, Madani. Again, based on the Islamic narrative, for the first 13 years, Muhammad preached in Mecca. The tone of those chapters that are attributed to that period, very different. To you be your religion, to me my religion, because he's outnumbered. He doesn't have control. And if he does try to make an attack, they'll squash him. So when you read those chapters from that period, if we take the traditional Sunni narrative, very tolerant. Like, well, let's get along. Okay, hey, you don't believe my religion, that's fine. To you, your religion, to me, my religion. That's like chapter 109 of the Quran says it. To you, your religion, to me, my religion. That's what they'll often quote. But they quote in the context when they're outnumbered. Then you have what's called the Medinan period, the period where he now goes to Medina and he becomes head of state. The tone changes. It goes from, to you, your religion, to me, my religion.
All right. So just because Prophet migrated somewhere and that city of Yathrib was renamed as Medina, and people of Ansar accepted him, still Jews did not. And someone migrating from somewhere to seek asylum or being exiled from his city doesn't mean that he's going to become a leader and all the power will be under his feet to do whatever he wants. So that's, a lie.
Then you enter Medina. Okay, now, since they oppressed you, you can fight back. Self-defense. Then the final stage is chapter 9. Now he's amassed a large number of soldiers, according to the narrative, right? One of the greatest scholars, in my opinion, questioning the narrative, you had him. He debated, Robert Spencer. If you want what I consider to be one of the most knowledgeable Christians on the historical Muhammad, as well as political Islam, you won't get any better than Robert Spencer. So if you ever want to talk,
really?
He's amazing. Right?
Interesting, because he gets a lot of hate and he's got a lot of controversy behind him. I mean, when I announced that I'm bringing him, they were furious about bringing Robert Spencer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's my estimation. You know how people say this guy's the best, and that's an ego thing. May God crush our pride. But my estimation, I don't think there's someone more knowledgeable in political Islam and historical Muhammad than Robert Spencer from a Christian perspective.
Interesting.
He would be part of if you ever get an A team, he'd be part of it. Now, I mention him only because he would question these sources. But if you're a Sunni, because now my audience is now the Sunni Muslim, like whoever it is, if it's Daniel. According to the tradition, chapter 9, one of the final marching orders, he's amassed a large number of soldiers. Now he's telling them, go and expand Islam. It's no longer defend yourself. It's now go and expand Islam politically, economically, socially. That's the context of chapter 9, 28 to 33. But now notice, Muhammad has to give them a pretext to attack. Okay, why are we attacking these people? You're going to see it doesn't say because they threatened you. This is the Islamic narrative. It's because they believe differently from you.
All right, according to him, if that would be the second to last revelation or last revelation of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. So he lived in Medina for 10 years. If this is the last revelation, which means that if he was 53 years old, 10 years before his departure from this planet, that's when it was revealed. That's what you're talking about. Come on, man. The lies are,
Right there, black and white. You're going to see it. So they don't think I'm lying. And if they want to get the commentators, Ibn Kathir, we're going to have a field day, brother. They can't tell me it doesn't mean this. Say, wait, what did Ibn Kathir or Qurtubi say? Right? But here, chapter 9, 28 to 33, we're going to read it. Oh, you have believed. Now, this translation says polytheist, but the term mushrikun, mushrikeen, it's much more broad than simply a polytheist. The term comes from shirk. What is shirk? According to the Quran, shirk is the one sin Allah will never forgive. But what is that? When you claim there are multiple divinities, or Allah shares his glory or attributes or sovereignty with a creature, or God has a son, you fall under that category. So according to Islam, all of you are shirkers. You're a mushrik, whether you like it or not. Why? Because if they ask you, do you believe Jesus is God's son? Mushrik. You believe Jesus is God's son? Mushrik. You believe he's Lord? Mushrik. Now the Quran says to fight you. And to the victor goes the spoils, or you pay what's called jizya. We're going to get there. So, oh, you believe, or have believed, indeed the polytheists are unclean, so let them not approach al-Masjid al-Haram. Now, without the traditions, you have no idea where this is. It's a tradition that tells you this is the Kaaba in Mecca. But if you just went with this, you'll have no idea where this is. What the heck is Masjid al-Haram? But this means Mecca, the Kaaba. Don't let them approach after this, their final year. What year? See, without the Islamic narrative, you don't even know what year this is. Mm-hmm. This is 2 years before the death of Muhammad, right? But I can't tell. I mean, what year, buddy? Doesn't tell me. And if you fear poverty, now why is it saying fear poverty? The Islamic narrative says that they would make pilgrimages, to this day the Muslims do it, to circumambulate the Kaaba 7 times, run between the 2 hills, Safa and Marwa 7 times, throw 7 stones at Satan, which they claim was instituted by Abraham, but there's no evidence for that. These were pagan practices. So when the people would come, they'd barter, they would sell, they would trade. So it's saying, well, if you fear by banishing them, you're going to lose money, don't worry. Allah will enrich you from his bounty if he wills. It's if he wills. We say inshallah, but here it's, if he wills. Now, how will he enrich you? This is the question I want you to see. By having you fight the infidels and taking jizya from them. That's verse 29. It says it right there. Fight those who do not believe in Allah. Does it say fight those who threaten you? Fight those who attacked you? Fight those who want to take your land? No. Fight those who do not believe in Allah or in the last day. Well, I don't believe in the Allah of Islam. Now, I know people say, well, it's just a name. That's not my debate. I have no problem using the term Allah. The Allah of the Quran is not the God of the Bible.
So different gods.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But now you have to qualify that. Do you think the average Muslim even knows the differences?
Probably not.
Absolutely not. They don't. They're told that this God is the God of Abraham. They're told Jesus is a mighty messenger. So you have to distinguish between what the sources say and the person. Because if I interview an average Christian, how many of them know what the Trinity is?
All right, so this would be very, very low tier, guys. I'm sorry about that, but I don't think I can sit through this. And those two not so smart people reacting to it as if they're hearing it some first time. Muslims are not like Christians. Muslims actually read and memorize their scripture and they know what they're talking about. And Muslims do not just deny a few verses of Bible from here and there just because of their right or left approach or being liberal and such, right? Now, the second thing about pagan rituals and stoning and this and that, it depends. If it was revealed by a divine origin, then it's not pagan. It's actually following the order. Now, that's just to put it mildly. I can go into like a 7-minute presentation about that. Second of all, if we're going to go down that path, you're going to end up having secular historians saying that Moses and Abraham did not exist. So I don't know what you're talking about. And when you're talking about pagan practices, I would like to show you guys a few things, and you can tell me if it's pagan or not. All right. Let's do that instead. All right. This was a joke and pretty embarrassing, to be honest with you. Let's go to my Instagram. Always full of weird stuff people sending in, you know. All righty. All right, let's see this and tell me if it feels like idolatry and paganism or not. All right, here we go.
Христе Боже, распяти, свети, српска земля, Христе Боже, распяти.
All right, guys, and I can show you a lot of videos where Jewish rabbis are accepting that Muslims, they worship the same God as Jews do, but they would never say that they worship the same God as Christians do. All right, so let's have a look at that actually. Let's look at that. There's no harm. Here we go. Let's do this one first. All right, let's do this first, guys.
In our Bible, does it say that the Messiah would be a god or godlike? The very idea that God would take on human form is repulsive because it contradicts our concept of God as being above and beyond the limitations of the human body and situation. Jews believe that God alone is to be worshipped, not a being who is his creation.
Nowhere in Hebrew Bible from Adam to Malachi was a belief of three persons, one essence, God, and way to it.
So that was me stating something. Let's do one more of the Jewish rabbi. Here we go.
You have 6 billion idol worshippers who makes God angry every second of their life. Indian, Chinese, Japanese, Tibet, Nepal, Thailand, so many. India alone is 500 million. China is 2 billion. So many, 2 billion Christians, which are idol worshippers. Between Chinese, Hindus, Buddhists, and Christian, at least 6.5 billion people are idol worshippers that according to the Torah do not have the right to live. Idol worshipper goy, it's death penalty. Not only Jews. Even a goy who bow down to an idol, who believe in JC, deserve death penalty.
So when he said Jay-Z, he's talking about Jesus Christ, all right? And we can go into a few more of the rabbis if you guys feel like it. But it's not going to be a pretty sight for Christianity. Yeah, just a second. I'm going to put you guys on mute. Let's actually do this one instead.
In God. You guys are focusing on a man and you're forgetting God. The Father. Over in Hinduism, they say that man is God. That's idolatry. God is all. This argument's been going on for 2,000 years. I don't think I'm going to change your mind and understand. You're a pastor in the church. You have your book and your way of understanding. You're going to keep on saying it says what you want to say. What I would like you to learn, you're a decent human being. Go to the Father. Go to the King. You're always focusing on, I read that you say you're here only to serve Yashka. You're here only to serve him. Serve the Father. Serve the King. He's the one. He's the creator.
All right, guys, you've heard it. And inshallah, I'm going to end the stream on this because I thought I was going to be sitting here for an hour talking about Sam Shimon's appearance on PBD. But it was such a brain rot that, the masses have identified what he's talking about. His character, I don't want to talk about that, but, it's out in the public. So we'll just, leave it at that, inshallah. And we'll come back with another live stream soon, inshallah. Up until then, take good care of yourselves. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما